and welcome to Heads Up. It's that time of the year again when thousands of students across different IITs in India opt for placements, or for that matter, some even refuse to go in for placements. Now, I'm in conversation with students of IIT Bombay, and let's see what they have to say about the placement trends this year. Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening on campus? Are more people going for placements, or are most of them opting out of it?
Okay, so this year the placement started from 1st December, and till now the total number of placements are 830. Now, according to last year's stats, in phase 1, that is between 1st December to 18th December, total placements were around 895, and this year we are expecting a good response. Now, many of the students have opted for deferred placements as they just want to have a cushion, like they are following their own entrepreneurial ventures, and just in case it doesn't work out for them, they can come back to the campus and follow and work in the placements. Apart from that, this year we have seen increase in trends as in the number of students selected by co-companies, so we are expecting a good result this year. Yeah.
All right. So we've seen in Delhi, people have refused placements up to the tune of up to 76 lakhs. So how is it here? Are people here also refusing such heavy paychecks?
Well, that does not sound very natural as of now, but at least in our campus here, the students who actually wanted to pursue their entrepreneurial ventures have already dropped out of placements earlier on itself, as Ujjwal mentioned, through the deferred placement policy, or else, if they have taken up a job right now, they would not have yet decided whether they actually want to drop the job or they want to continue with the. So it will happen over a period of 2-3 months later on when the companies actually give them offer letters. So that is how it will work out.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so every year we've seen the prices, the pay just going up like exorbitantly. So how long do you think this is going to continue? Or are we going to see like a end to this particular trend, let's say?
You're talking with respect to the number of people placed.
That as well as the pay, the
Okay.
paychecks.
All right. So I think with respect to the number of people placed, we are about 100 jobs ahead at this point in time with respect to last year, and that is majorly attributed because you have more number of startups hiring, and secondly, your manufacturing sector has hired more this time. So the 100 jobs, additional 100 jobs, is majorly attributed to these two things. For example, Ola Cabs recently, you would have heard, they have hired in big numbers.
Okay.
So that's one instance.
All
Apart
right.
from that, coming to your second part of the question, that have the paychecks, are they going to keep going up? That really depends on the supply and demand of the economy. So if you see, the paychecks are going up only for some sectors, wherein the supply of students is very limited. So which is why those sectors, for example, IT software, they have to offer more competitive pay packages to attract students to those sectors.
Okay.
So that's the reason as to for the hike in salaries that is ranged about 5 to 10% this time.
So I understand. So what about you all? Have you all opted for placements? All of you, have you all been placed yet? You have? Okay, can you tell me a little bit about it? Like where have you, and why placements first of all? Like which company and why did you opt for placement?
Okay, so what I feel that whoever comes to IIT, all of them have some kind of expectations as to what will happen after their 4 years of down the line. And what I feel that most of them either wish to go for a company which they want to work in since their childhood, probably a sector, or they want to go for further studies. So, and apart from that, the new thing which has recently turned up is the startups, that they want to join their own startups. So these three things were in my mind when I was going for my own placements. So I did try most of them as to figure out what will suit me, and finally I figured out that it would be better to go into a core sector. So
So what about you? Have you also sat for the placements, or is it higher studies for you?
Yeah, I also sat for the placements. Actually, I took a job in a consultancy firm. So basically, I mean, it might sound a bit strange at the first. I mean, why consultancy firms are hiring from IITs? We are essentially engineers. So we have IITians. We have a very good analytical skills. I mean, problem solving skill, this skill of visualizing problems, and the industry. I mean, talk about the consultancy industry. Their sole asset is their brain power. So obviously, they're hiring from the best institutes in the nation. And IIT, obviously, IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, these are one of the best institutes in the nation. So that's why I mean, more and more consultancy firms are coming, and more people. I mean, if you talk about the most prime jobs that are available, right? I mean, the day one job, the first loss, those goes to big consultancy firms. So that's why I mean there's a huge trend. I mean, and other than that, I mean, core sector, it's very lucrative this time. I mean, the policies of the placement cell here in IIT Bombay, it has been mentioned. I'd like to reinforce that it's a very good initiative that they have taken to give them a good slot in this time. So people who are interested can genuinely go for them.
All right. So Kritika, can you tell me a little bit about, the entrepreneurship scenario? Like we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs mushrooming in, let's say, Powai itself, in the entire area. So most of them are IITians. So what is this that we have been seeing, the trend?
Okay, so I believe here in IIT, the whole infrastructure of IIT as well as the administration, they support the students to go on with their own startups, to have the ownership, because of which we have e-cells. And another thing that, as Ujjwal and Kartike mentioned, that we have deferred placement policies, so students need not to worry about that. Even if their startups, their entrepreneurships don't work out, so they can go for deferred placements after 2 years. So I think that is what all encourages them to go for it.
So one interesting trend that we've seen is the fact that, IITs produce more entrepreneurs than the IIMs. What do you think are the reasons for these?
See, number one, you have more number of people who go to IITs, and majorly a lot of people who go to IIMs, those people are a subset of people who go to IITs. That being said, there are a lot of IITians who eventually do start up their own entrepreneurial ventures. Now, what has changed over the years is the confidence to start up these entrepreneurial ventures right when you are in college. So the age has decreased. Earlier, you would have had people who would have been starting their entrepreneurial ventures in late 30s, early 40s, and now you have people who have the confidence to pursue it right when they are in college or right out when they get out of college.
Okay, so appetite for risk is one factor, you can say. So what sets them apart? Do you want to add something else? Is there any other factors according to you which matter?
So as you said, appetite for risks. So in IIT they are just doing their bachelors, so they know they can take that risk to actually jump into a venture. If they fail, that's all right. It will benefit that experience will benefit them to get admission into an MBA school. For an MBA student, yes, there are many startups coming up, but not as much as compared to those coming from IITs, because as Mohak mentioned, because of the age factor. So they'll already be 25, 26. They'll want to settle down with a good salary maybe. So it becomes a bit more difficult for them to actually jump into a venture right away. So that would be one of the cases why, as you mentioned, IITs are having more startups.
Okay, so but here also you get such heavy paychecks. So it's like it's a gamble pretty much when you're leaving the job and you're going in for your own entrepreneurship venture. So how does that work out? I mean,
it is a gamble, but then students want to take the risk early on in their life because they have age on their side, right? They can afford to fail. So even if they fail, it's a learning experience. They don't have responsibilities. They don't have a family to support most of them. So it makes sense for them to actually jump into this. And those who have ideas, fresh ideas, they'll want to try them out. Maybe they'll also have this in mind that maybe my first startup won't work, but that'll give me a good experience to actually go in and start another one.
So the exposure is important. Do you agree with that? Would you ever want to have your own startup, or would you rather work for a company and the whole job security bit?
Okay, so first of all, I would say that I'm not sure if I want to have my own venture or not. But one thing is for sure that right now I'm joining a startup, a company which has started just last year. So probably I will be gaining very nice experience there.
Yeah.
And after working there, I would look into any option regarding my own venture. I guess that would give me a base to build my career on it, and depending on that knowledge, I can take better decision.
Okay. So how conducive is it? Like, as in, are we getting our entrepreneurs getting that right push to go ahead, like the grants from government and the whole funding bit? How?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think the environment has been very encouraging. And for that, I think if you look at the statistics, in terms of last year, there was one guy who opted for deferred placement. And that's when we took the cue. We set up a strong system. We set up a strong policy, and we set up an ecosystem to support these guys. And now this year, there are 12 people who have opted for deferred, who have been allotted deferred. And that's the highest across any IIT/IIM. So, and the reason is, one is people now are much more comfortable with the idea of starting up. Second, there are a lot of angel investors out there. I just had a call yesterday from one of them who saw the article on deferred placement program and he wanted to extend help. And there are a lot of angel investors who are ready to, sort of invest in their ideas, who are looking for fresh ideas. And so in terms of funding, it's a very supportive atmosphere out there. Lastly, I think there have been a lot of entrepreneurship cells that have been established across campuses. And that has been, I think, that has helped candidates sort of pursue their ventures.
All right. So, Kritika, I understand you're doing your MTech, right?
Yeah.
So, see, we've seen the trend that okay, first of all, like, why did you first, start off with your, like, the trend we've been seeing is rather than after doing your bachelor's in engineering in IIT, basically, you go on to do an MBA from IIM. So, why the whole?
Yeah, so I wanted to be on technological grounds, so I thought like after my bachelor's degree, I'll go for a master's degree so that, I have a clearer picture in the sector which I'm working for. Although now the placement that I've got, it's not in a core company, it's a finance company, and basically I'm going to do a job of an analyst. But I'm pretty much happy about it because this is something that I wanted to do because you are actually applying your logical skills to come out with the data and model them. So I think that is the thing, that you decide something else in your life and you end up doing something else, but at the end of the day, what matters is you should be happy about it.
Okay. So when we see on a generic scale, like what I told her, you've seen more people doing their IIT first and then going to IIM. It's a complete transition altogether. From engineering, then you're doing your MBA in finance or let's say marketing or anything. So why do you think that trend we've been seeing?
So here I would like to add that what differentiates IITs from other engineering colleges is the exposure that you get apart from engineering. So like for example, almost every infrastructural services that we provide is driven by the student body. So we have hostel affairs, we have academic affairs and numerous other things. Even within the hostel, all the secretaries and all the management is taken care by the student itself. So I believe that those skills brings out the best of the students and it helps them grow apart from just academically, but in an overall fashion. And what I feel that is, it's that urge to learn more, understand the intricacies of those management skills that drives a person to go ahead and do a graduate degree. And apart from that, as she mentioned that she's currently working in a finance. So the major, what you can say is a matchup between engineering and the finance is the reason why finance firms, consulting firms, analytics firms are hiring from IIT Bombay. And to ensure that you even get more insights into finance and consultancy, people go for IIMs to improve their skills, to obviously get promoted within the firm very early as compared to other people. And so these are the reason I feel that why people are more into going for MBAs and IIMs. But yes, there are students, a good number of them who want to go further, do further studies in terms of technical, who want to go for PhD, who want to go for MS. Last year itself, we have around out of 800 students, nearly 80 went for MS and PhD, and which I feel has been a very good number.
All right. What about you? Would you ever want to go into a different, like change your field altogether, go into management for your higher studies or something?
Yeah, eventually down the line, yes, maybe. I mean, he essentially pointed out, but the thing is, these all fields, I mean, they are talk about engineering, talk about management, talk about finance. These fields they're interconnected. I mean, there's a hypothesis, and you have to solve your problem based on that hypothesis.
Correct.
I mean, the core principles changes. So yes, I mean, the sector which is most opportunistic in the future, yes, I'd definitely like to join that sector. So and regarding the further studies in the core, that like mine is mechanical. So I thought about that. I might not go for that, but in management, I might go.
All right. Thanks. So that's hearing it from the students of IIT Bombay. That's all we have on today's show. Thank you for watching.